All right. Hello, Georgia. And
Hi.
Susanna is also here.
Hola,
Oh, great
hola.
to meet
¿Qué
you,
tal?
Nice
Susanna.
to meet
Hola.
you. Hi.
How are you? I had a lot of technical issues today, so
But this is
I'm happy
normal.
to see that you
When there
managed
is,
to log in because, like, plan B, plan C, and then it's like, okay, back to plan B.
Hey,
And
but to be honest, at the start I was waiting, and then it's like count down, it's finished. And I'm like, nothing's happening. And then I
yeah,
read your message again, and it says, okay, but click here to meet us and get Google Hangout. Okay, so then immediately when I did it, it was no problem then.
okay, good, because that was a last minute sentence I added. I was like, okay.
That's good.
that was the one
Good.
you were missing.
Hello, Natalie. You found a way.
Hola. Hi.
So, well, I know all three of you, but you don't know each other.
I don't think so.
So,
We didn't coincide the time over there, and I didn't meet them.
no, because Georgia, she's a client of mine, and
Okay.
she's in the south of Spain. She's a speaker coach. Well, I'll let you do introductions later.
I think I saw you introduce her on a blog post, probably. Is that right?
No, no, but I would do maybe
Oh,
one day because
okay.
I will start interviews as of tomorrow.
Okay. Right.
So, well, if you would like, as we wait for more people to log in,
Mm-hmm.
just give a short description who you are, and then we can get to know each other a bit before we start the actual full webinar.
Okay. Who
You want to
starts?
start, Susanna?
Okay. Well, I'm at my office right now. Normally I'm not that late, but today, it just caught me here when I was on the motorbike going home or just here. So I was waiting for the webinar. I've been a exchange student many years ago to America, and even though I've done a lot of things in the past, I recruit students to go to America, to Ireland to study high school, or to become au pairs in the US. And also, I have a little kindergarten outside of Barcelona, and we teach children. So I have very different customers in very different places. But I have had my own business for almost 10 years, and hopefully with digital marketing, hopefully I'll get into something bigger, and not bigger in the sense of money, but less time consuming, less risky in the sense, because my kindergarten depends a lot on how moms can afford a kindergarten. Like many of them don't have jobs sometimes, and every year is like a struggle to try to know how many customers you're gonna have next year. Whereas if I do a good job on a website, and I have, I try to get more customers, I might be able to get into something that it's more reliable in the future, hopefully.
That sounds good. Yes. Well, hopefully we can learn something today, and
Exactly,
you have a
exactly,
lot of
for
experience
sure.
already, so maybe you can even contribute
Okay,
with some of
all
your
right.
experience.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Georgia, do you want to go next? I'll mute the rest because otherwise these screens are popping out. And so if you want to speak, just give me a wave and I will give you the microphone, okay? But I'll give you the word now, Georgia.
Okay, so I'm living here in Murcia, in the southeast of Spain, and I've just started my speaker coach business, to show people how to step up and stand out and learn to speak, to put their thoughts and ideas into great writing and then turn it into fantastic speeches. And whether it's just you want to get more money from your boss, or you want to work less hours or more hours, you know how to speak the right way to the people you want to get that yes answer from. I've been in show business practically all my life, so the stage for me is like a bedroom. And what can I say? Yeah, I'm coming up to Barcelona this weekend, so I'm really looking forward to meeting Vibeke in the flesh. There's a big Toastmasters conference on the Saturday, so I'm going to be the contest chair and various other things. So that's why I'm coming up. Great to meet you all.
Okay, that's great, Georgia. Thank you for the introduction. And I also look forward to meet you. We've been talking so much now. I feel I know you quite a lot. So it's always good to meet people in person. Okay, Natalie, do you want to be the next one?
Yeah, I think. No, we haven't had this introduction before. Sorry. I'm from South Africa, but I live in Barcelona, around the corner from Vivek, just at the beach. And Vivek helped me build my first website and my second one. And she's going to help me build my third. She just doesn't know it yet. So, yeah, I was doing a lot of coaching before, and that's kind of not my only focus right now. So I've just taken over my second kind of passion is exercising on the beach. So I've been doing a lot of that, and I've just taken over that business. And if you guys have a look, Vivek just helped me do the website for that. It's beautiful. And that's all. Just happy in Barcelona.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. And I know there are a lot of people who said they cannot make the call, but they are gonna look at the replay, and I have some questions from them and so forth, but I will get started a bit on what we want to talk about today, and basically the whole concept of how to find the clients online and how to attract them to our website. So I will share with you quickly just some slides. I don't want to be on the slides all the time, so I'm going to go a bit back and forth, but I'll see if I can, let's see, the best way to keep talking to you. Well, I will show the slides and I will go back, and then we can be interactive. I think some of you have been on my mailing list focusing on how to find clients online. So this is a bit of a recap of all that I was talking about in that email series. You all introduce yourself, and all of you online right now know me, but for those watching the replay, I am Vibeke, and I'm a web designer and website coach, and I dedicate a lot of time to help female entrepreneurs get started with their business. And this means that I talk to a lot of people who are starting out, and the emotions can go something like in the picture in this slide. And it's a bit of a roller coaster for all of us. It's a lot of highs and lows, but what we need to focus on eventually is the very, very big picture. And what we need to learn is how to attract clients to our website. And then when they get there, how do we keep their attention? How do we get them engaged from the first moment and move through our website? Because we are the ones who need to guide our visitors through our website. And this is the part that requires a strategy on your part. And when we sell a service like we do, it's a bit different than products, because people work with us because of the kind of person we are more than our skills. There might be a lot of people offering similar services to us, so it's all about establishing connections, get to know really, really well the clients and potential clients we have, and make them like us. And you make your audience like you when you really listen to them, when you take the time to really get to know them properly, to the point that they feel almost that you know them and their problem almost better than themselves. You want to find out what is their deepest fears and frustrations and problems and dreams, and some of these feelings they might not even admit or know themselves. And of course, the big question that we have now is, okay, knowing all this, how do we figure all of that out? And that leads to the step that a lot of people skip in the beginning. They don't do this first step, that is to decide on a target market. And it's a hard thing to do, because in the beginning you don't feel like you want to do it. You don't want to narrow yourself down too much, and it takes a bit of time as well before you feel that you know enough about what you do and who you do it for to take that decision. But it's something to keep in the front of your mind from the very beginning of your business, because it's going to help you so much later that you don't need to keep changing and changing as you learn. So I listed here the 5 steps, and ideally the order of the steps are like this. You decide on your target market, and I have a worksheet for that I will share after the webinar. And after you decide your target market, you define your ideal client, and I'll explain more about that later. And when you know those things, then you can try to figure out everything about them by doing your market research, finding out exactly what words that you need to use to describe their find out the words they use to describe their problems, what are their feelings around this, and use these words on your website strategically. And this is the part that can be quite difficult to do in the beginning, before you feel that you know exactly what you are offering. Maybe you are not feeling quite confident yet, and maybe you're not really sure who you want to offer your services to, or who you can offer your services to. And I had this question earlier this week from a client who said, I find it hard to find out where my clients are exactly. So I'll talk with her later this week and see if we can clarify that, and I might share this video with you that I will have with her, so that they can all see that we're all going through the same, basically. And going through step 1, like I mentioned, many also don't want to take that decision. So I wanted to ask you now, kind of gone through this step, and let's see, did I go back now? Can you see my screen anymore or no?
Yeah,
No.
You see me, or you see the slide?
We see you.
Okay,
we see
perfect.
You.
Good. Okay. So I don't know if any of you have gone through this step of deciding on the target market and how you feel about that. No?
Who talks? Who goes first?
Anyone wants to say anything?
Yeah, I could say a few things. I mean, I think, first of all, I was looking at the market here in Murcia, and really, if anybody knows what it's like living here in Spain, then finding people who are reliable and ready to pay and willing to learn and open their minds and not go to their abuelo for information, it's very difficult. So I spent quite a lot of time looking at ideal clients in this area, and that's not where they are. So I learned the hard way, and I know that I have to go international and spread my wings, and that takes a different type of traffic. So I know what my ideal clients are. They're not from here, and I kind of learned that now. I have to spread my wings, go to the bigger cities, but even then.
Yeah, and online, in one way, you have the whole world basically to take from. So it's a huge pool, and also, of course, English speaking, which widens it up as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I don't know if you had. I know, Georgia, that in the beginning as well, you were thinking, okay, it's hard to find a target market, and kind of for what you do. In one way, it depends what you do. You're a speaker coach. So how many other speaker coaches are there? How many people do exactly what you do? Because for some services as well, there are so few people that provides exactly that your market can be less defined. I mean, I have a very narrow one, for example, but that's because there are also so many web designers. So I really need to niche down to be specialized in some area. And I'm not sure how it is with speaker coaches. And before I met you, actually, I hadn't heard about speaker coaches. I know people help with these kind of things, but it might be, I don't know if you did research on it, might be a thing that it's not that much competition. And in that sense, you don't need to narrow down and only work for these people, but it's a good thing to think about.
Yes. Well, I realized that one of my great skills is writing. And I know that when they have to speak to anybody, whether it's in public or to a new client or in their own businesses, they have to prepare some speech of some kind. And writing is one of my skills.
Definitely.
So I look at writing, I look at the rehearsal part of it, the preparation, and then the presentation. So writing, rehearsing, and performing are my 3 skills, and those are the ones I want to focus on, because I see that's what practically everybody has some kind of difficulty with, shyness or...
For Spanish companies, it's very... Sorry. For Spanish companies, it can be really good. Like small companies or medium-sized companies, people like me, okay, I speak English for a long time, but I'm from Barcelona. I'm not a native. So if I had to make a presentation overseas, I probably would need to hire someone to be prepared for that. Because that happens in business quite often. And not only for a presentation, it can only be like a business meeting strategy, that a lot of Spanish speakers are not fluent in English. Their English is not good enough to feel confident to do business, to go and show up their products, or I don't know. I mean, I'm sure in Spain there aren't too many people preparing for that.
Yes. And I agree with you. I see that there's a big need for it, but it's getting the people, it's converting them to recognize that they have that need. Because a lot of Spanish people think, what the hell, nobody listens, or we all talk at once, nobody's listening, we're always talking. Mm-hmm. It is a big problem. And the second problem is they don't want to pay. And I'm not doing it for free.
Of course. But there must be a way, yeah. I mean,
there is a way, so, you know, that I know Spanish speakers who are doing the very same thing, and they are struggling. And they're starting off with basics like fear and shyness, because despite the fact that Spanish people are very flamboyant, gregarious, outward, they are very shy to speak in public because they're so used to speaking all at once and nobody listening.
You think so? Okay. Well, there are all kinds, I would say.
Watch the television. Watch the television everywhere.
But for sure.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't take it personal. It's okay.
It's a fact.
No, thanks for sharing, Georgia.
Well, that's obviously you've lived in Murcia. Murcia is quite different from Barcelona, to be honest. I'm not saying anything against. I have a lot of customers that they come from Murcia because I send au pairs to America. Mainly, there are a few that come from Murcia. Their Spanish is really like down to earth, pretty much. Like even in Spanish, I see a lot of people that they have a problem to speak in public in Spanish. So just imagine in English, what an effort. Because I think, well, we're not very well known for our high educational system. And one of the basics, which I'm a teacher myself, I don't work as a teacher, but I train myself to be a teacher. It's if a child left the school knowing how to write and speak, they will be fantastic in this world. But the kids, I have met a lot of university students that they want to go to America, and they cannot speak in their own language properly. So you find a big problem. So can you imagine if you're trying to do that in English in a country where people are not bilingual?
Yeah, well, this applies to all nationalities. You know, in schools they don't teach people how to speak out. And
America does a little bit. America, some places they teach you how to do presentations in public.
Yeah. And Susanna, do you have a specified target market? Did you ever do?
Well, I have very different. Back in the kindergarten, I work with people mainly face to face. It's not so digital because you're in a location, and most of the people they need their kindergarten. They look for a place in their hometown. So it's basically face to face. It's like the old days. It's sales, but with a premise. There, I show them the premise, I show them what our project is about, and then they trust me, and they say, well, you've been here for 10 years, and you know, we have good references. So
it's easier when it's local sometimes, because you really have that face-to-face interaction, and it's easier to create
and it works well when you have good testimonials. So if it, at this point, if it didn't have good references, we will be closed, because it will be so, you know, it's very delicate business. It's like 0 to 3 years old children. So, you know, it's one of those. We have problems with customers is because they don't want to pay so much, and they prefer going to a public system because they cannot afford probably a private kindergarten. But that's besides the point, you know. It's still, we are okay, we're surviving, we have 30-something kids. So that's a market that is not even into my business right now. I do it, but it's just there. I go there once a week, and that's it. Then I send au pairs to America, which is my main focus right now. And we have a website, and we call it Au Pair First. It's the name of my website. We're trying to remodel a few things and make a few landing pages and a few ads on Facebook ads to try to get more people from all over Spain. We're growing, and again, it's basically from referees that we grow, word of mouth, because it's again a service that people have trust us, they work well, they send their friends, right?
Yeah. No, it's I mean, it's a good target market in that sense, because it is usually young girls who go out, and it's in itself, your business is very focused, and it's easier in that sense.
What I found that these girls do is that they go on Facebook and Instagram most of the time. Girls 18 to 26 years old, they spend quite a lot of time on Instagram and Facebook. So that's where we are making our bigger efforts at the moment. Yeah.
I just want to add, I think you said something very important, that here in Spain, the word of mouth is very powerful.
Super.
Which is very more so than anything else. And so if you can't get in to the word of mouth circle, especially if you're not Spanish, there is a little bit of difficulty to get in. So that's probably what I meant.
Yeah,
for your target market, which is young, Facebook and Instagram is fantastic, yeah.
But probably for you, I don't know, I'm just thinking like companies that I used to work for Colorinho in the international division in Barcelona, and we had people that they could speak well, you know, but if they had to go overseas, I'm sure that if they would have, like, if the company had a service, like, I'm just saying, you probably don't need to go one person, but you can just offer your service to a company and say, okay, we'll give you 5 hours per month on a monthly base. Let's say whatever you want to make for 5 hours, and just say, okay, if you have 5 employees that they need to be prepared for to go make a presentation or whatever, you just make, perhaps if you have 5 customers that they give you 5 hours per week, they're happy because they don't have, they can use any of their employees that need to be prepared.
Yeah.
That could be perhaps for you an idea.
Well, it's sometimes as well, you can have basically 2 target markets. If one, like for you, Georgia, maybe it could be companies, but it also could be private people. And it's also 2 different approaches. Well, I will go to the next step in the presentation. But for a company, you will have to think differently, because when you approach them, you approach a place where the approval flows and you don't necessarily talk with the decision maker, the one who's going to make decisions. And when you talk to private people, when you sell your services, like I sell you my services to other private people, it's a whole personal connection going on, which goes to the next step as well. But I'm going to ask Natalie first, because I really like her target market, or one of them, and she might have a second one with the yachties. That, well, you have your own experience. I'll let you tell a bit about it, but it's really a very defined market, and it's attracting the people because of that. So, well, I'll let you have the word, Natalie.
Thank you. I just resisted working with them because of my experience in yachting, and I didn't want to have anything to do with them, as I'd worked previously in private yachts for 8 years, and I was kind of done with the industry. But what I realized is my strongest point is, because I've been through exactly what they're struggling with, I understand their frustrations, and that's what makes a good connection, because there's other coaches trying to coach them who haven't worked on yachts, who haven't dealt with ugly captains, who haven't worked 18-hour days the way you do on a yacht. I'm sure in all industries it happens, but it's different on a boat, you know. So that connection has been so special for me, and that's what's helped me grow my clientele specifically from yachting, which has been cool. And they got money. They're not smart.
Yeah. No, in one way, you're a very good example of having found a very specific niche in which you have all the experience. You've been in a situation where you live this very kind of isolated, strange life of a boat. And then you have to start to live normal life, and you've been through that process.
Exactly.
And you can help them in a really good way. So it's a very good example of how your clients know that you will not judge them or have a strange idea about how their problems, and find their problems strange, because you know why they have these problems. So that's a really good
even a good example of having like a niche of a niche is like not just yachties, but yachties who want to move ashore. So like anybody can do that, you know, not just building websites, but websites for these specific people. So I think that's even nicer. Like they say, the more niche you are, the more powerful it is.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and as well for the, well, I'll go to the next step because we kind of got carried away here. But the target market is a really huge step. It's the very first thing that we need to focus on, and it's a step that a lot of people skip, or we don't do as much work as we want to, and I'm guilty of that myself. There are a few kind of key questions you have to ask yourself when you choose a target market, like is it enough of them? Do they need what I can deliver? And also the last question, which I kind of failed on in my first business, are they willing to pay for your services? They might need them, but I was focusing a bit on events industry and giving them administrative support, but tourism industry don't spend money like that. They spend when they have to, when they're up against the wall. So that was one big question that I had to add to my list, basically, moving to my next target. Like, okay, are these people willing to pay for it, and do they need it enough to actually be able to afford me, and I can keep a sustainable business? So it's good what you say, Natalie. It's a very specific group, and actually they have a lot of money. So it's just a seasonal thing that, of course, they're not available all year. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Yes. Okay, I'll share a bit of my presentation again. We can move to the next step. Let's see here. Where was I? Let's see here. If I can make this big screen. See some screen share. Okay, that should be it. I think share. Okay, sorry for the delay there. I'm getting used to this Google Hangout since that was my plan B today. So the target market. So next thing is the ideal client, and I'll explain a bit, because a lot of people ask me if ideal client and target market, isn't that the same thing? And basically your ideal client is not the same as your target market, but it's a person within your target market that you really like to work with. And for me, an ideal client, I used to think about people I had worked with in the past when I did that exercise to define my ideal client, and think like, who do I really enjoy working with? Like, what kind of personality do they have? What kind of values do they have? And there's a whole lot of questionnaires there I can share with you if you would like to go through this exercise worksheet. But basically, to give you a specific example, I mean, I work with the female coaches, and I keep saying that not every female coach on earth is an ideal client for me, because it could be that we're just very different personalities, or we have different communication styles, or it just, sometimes it's just a feeling we're not a good fit, and sometimes as well they cannot afford my services, although they have the rest perfectly. I have a lot of people who are really great people, but if they can't afford even the minimum, unfortunately, for me to survive in business, I can't work with everyone. So the good thing with the ideal client, though, is that especially for the writing, when you write your blog and when you post things on social media and all kind of communications, also what you write on your website specifically, when you write in the beginning, I remember feeling that I was kind of writing to this huge crowd, and I didn't really have, it was like this vague kind of idea of, okay, I'm writing to all these people, and you try to write a bit corporate still, because I came, of course, from an employee mindset, which takes a while to get rid of as well, to throw out the window all the things you learn about writing correctly and properly, and fitting into this kind of, I'm writing to 100 people now, to completely change and write as if I was talking to you as a person. So having this ideal client defined, when I write my blog now, and I've noticed that I start to go into general sentences and sounding a bit too bland or too like impersonal, I think, okay, who would I write to? I have a person in mind. And for example, Natalie, you're a good example. Because sometimes I think, oh, my text is a bit boring. I think, well, what would I have said if I was talking to Natalie? How would I explain it, with which words? And then, okay, no, I wouldn't say all this. I wouldn't say any of these words. I would actually be much more informal. Maybe I'll put in even some swear words. Okay, I try to keep it down, but well, actually, Natalie, you're a good example of putting in all kind of very straightforward language in your blog, and that's exactly why people like to follow you, because you talk like a person. we're not all corporate people. So I really like that ideal client profile, for the sense when I write something, I think, okay, how would I actually say this verbally to somebody? Instead of sitting there and talking to the crowd. And it's made a big difference from me to get actually started and sound like myself again. Because no one ever teaches you to write to, I don't know, to people online, because people work with you because they like you, because they want to connect with you as a person. I keep saying that no one's actually looking at your CV or your skills. That's like a second step. The first step is like, do I like you? Okay, I like you. So now I want to know what you're doing and what can you do for me? And that's where the whole ideal client comes into the picture and can help us a lot. I think we have a fourth person online.
Hey, Adrian.
Adrian, I don't know if you can hear us. I have you on mute, so that I can't wait. I'll see if I can. Hello, Adrian, can you hear us?
Hi.
Hello.
I don't know how this works. Has been a mess to arrive here.
I'm sorry.
Listen. Hi to everyone.
Hello. Well, you are unmuted, so if you want to add anything to the discussion, because we talk quite a lot since we're not so many people, just speak up. And if you find out the video, it would be great as well if we can see you, but there's no obligation to to be on the video. So I will continue anyway. Oh, hello! I can see you now. Hello, how are you?
Hi. I'm just
Don't worry.
new to technology, so.
Oh, tell me about it. Today I had my share, which is why we are here on Google Hangout instead of the initial link. But well, just a short recap. We talked about target markets and ideal clients, and I'm going to move now on to the next step, which is, let's see, yes, it's the market research, of course. So let's see, I'm going to share my screen again, if the technical part will be with me. So here we go, share. Oh, okay, the market research. This is a very, very exciting point, and nobody likes to do it, almost. And I had a few business coaches in my life during my own process, and they really kicked my butt and said, okay, by next week you need to figure all these things out. And thank God that I had someone kicking me a bit in the butt to get that going, because I felt really kind of vulnerable in the beginning, and I felt like I was bothering people, asking them these questions about what they really needed and what they felt about it and so forth. And I had this very surprising experience that no one felt that I bothered them. They really appreciated it, and they really shared so much personal information. And that's the thing. I was completely amazed that people really want to share what they're going through. And this information is the best information you can have for you to really know what's going on in your client's mind. And I don't know if anyone you have done the market research. Have you gone out and asked anyone about what you need and what you need from me specifically and what you feel about it? Did any of you actually interview people or Google anything?
I ask a lot. I'm a big question person. I ask a lot of questions on the phone, on Skype, to my former customers, to the people that potentially could be my customers, and a lot to the people that I've failed on selling a product. I still ask them, would you mind, I mean, you okay if I ask you, who have you chosen to go to? Why, mainly why, the price? I find out a lot of information. I mean, you have to be very outgoing that way, and you can do it politely. I mean, people don't get offended.
It's true, and asking as well after they have kind of declined your offer. I started to do that as well, and people are very honest and not critical, and usually the reason has nothing to do with you.
No.
and it's really powerful. So I don't know about you, Georgia. Did you do any market research yet, or?
But I think I just did it, locally amongst business people here, and it wasn't very good. But
Now we'll see.
For
For the international market, it might be more different when you start to get connections online.
Yeah.
I saw you were a bit active in one of the groups on LinkedIn, so that might be a good start, hopefully.
Yeah.
And just always when we talk to people who may be our client or fits that profile, even though they're never going to be our client, but they're like, you think, okay, this person could have been a person I work with. Always try to ask them, keep in mind, like ask them the questions, and I'm going to give you 4 key super mega good questions that of all the questions I was kind of instructed to ask in interviews with people, 4 of them were really the most important ones, because you don't always want to interview 10 people for 1 hour. It's a lot of time. If you have time, that's great. But the 4 very powerful questions was really, first of all, like, what's their biggest problem? The really, really deepest frustration. I mean, you have the marketing people always says, like, what is your aching pain and what is your burning desire? We think it's kind of funny, but they have a point. So try to find out, like, what do they find is their biggest problem, and the key question after they reply to that is, how do they feel about it? Because it's eventually the feelings you want to get down to. This is what will make your communication with your market and with your audience on your website, and also in all these activities we do to drive people to our website. When we feel that someone has kind of stricken a chord emotionally with us, if I go to a website and think, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel about this problem, then you have my attention. And this is what we need to find out, like, what are the words they use. If you interview 10 people, you will see there are 2 or 3 words for sure that almost all of them repeat. And these are the one to try to write down, and especially everything emotionally, make notes of it and keep using those words in the copy. So, well, my 4 questions are really like, what is the biggest frustration? What do they feel about that? And then where would they like to be? What would be the ideal situation for them when the problem is solved, and how would they feel when they get there? So it's basically situation now and situation where they want to be, and their feelings in both situations. And especially as well, I usually ask them where they hang out, right? Because when you start to do some activities, like, say, you wrote a blog and you can post that blog in different places, but like for me, if I post my blog on Twitter, I'm not even sure if my audience is on Twitter. I know a few people are, but I know that almost all of them are on Facebook. So I always ask my people, basically, like, where do you spend most time in social media and online? And then I try to be where they are, basically, and also not in all the places, because you can't be on 6 social media platforms. Well, you can try, but it's going to take a lot of time. So I usually ask them these 4 key questions, and also where they hang out, because then I know where to find them. And it's part of the market research as well, to try to find out, okay, in which group are they active, where can I start to build these relations. And I have to say as well, this is not like an over the night solution. It's slowly building up your reputation, your name, and just whenever people have a question related to your area of expertise, they keep knowing that, you're the one who always gives me the small free advice, always help me out. So when they're ready to buy a service and they think, who am I going to work with, they will think, this lady online who always answers my questions and is there with valuable information, I'm going to start with her. And this has happened when I chose to work with people. I needed a virtual assistant at some point to help me out. And she lived in Wisconsin. I never met her, but she answered a lot of questions that I had when I started with the website building and gave me consultancy. And she did exactly that. I asked some people, like, hey, when you start doing website, what do you do, da-da-da? And she answered all the questions. She offered me to say, hey, if you have any other questions, contact me privately and I can help you out a bit. And at some point, you don't want to take advantage of their generosity. I mean, I could keep asking questions, But at some point I thought, well, I have so many questions now. I will ask her what can she offer me? Can she offer me like a consultancy rate? Can she offer me some packages? And indeed she could. So, and there was another occasion as well. I needed someone, and I connected with someone online, basically, that I see active all the time and keep providing the information I need. So it works, but I think that works over time, because you need to be quite consistent. And like for example, you, Georgia, if you go to be active in this group now with the coaches, you need to be there often enough for people to recognize, this is her again, this is her again, this is her again. And not be afraid as well to post your own things, to post your own blogs, because if you are an active member of the community, you also get the privileges of being able to post your own things more often, and no one's going to feel that you're just posting your things and leaving the group. No, you're there to actually connect it. So that was a bit about that, the market research. It's something worth spending time on, basically. That's the message. It's something we don't do enough. It's something we should continuously keep doing, because I keep learning things about my clients, and sometimes I kind of grow with my clients, because they start a business, for example, and like I'm here and they're there, and they keep growing and I keep growing as well at the same pace, but a few steps ahead, and their needs change. So I need to keep up to date on, okay, they're not completely at the beginning stage anymore. Some of them have been in business for a year. So they have other needs now, and I need to adapt a bit my messages to also manage to fit into not just the clients I had before, but maybe I get new clients, or all clients come back, which happens now, of course, with the websites, and might happen with you too. Do have the beginner stage, and then after a while they might come back for more. They have come to a point where, okay, I have developed, but now I need help again. Especially with lots of coaching, it's like with Natalie, I know that you have clients who think like, okay, I'm fine now, and after a while you fall back to old habits, or you think, oh my god, I have a new challenge, I would like to go back to the coaching. So keep in mind to do that properly. It's a part that as well, all these steps we talk about in the 7-week content preparation program that I have, it's a lot of things we work on the first week to really get a solid base, basically, if we're working. Because if you don't have that part ready, then you can sit and prepare content, and you spend a lot of time, and you put a lot of effort and emotions into actually writing the content, and then you change it, and then you change it again, and then someone gives you some input and you change it again, and eventually you don't know what's right and what's wrong. And I had this experience as well. You don't know anymore what's the right direction. But if you have done the market research, if you have done all these things, you know so well your clients, and you can feel confident that you know what they need, that you talk to them, basically, instead of guessing what they need, which is what happens with a lot of us. We create products and think, oh, I think they need this, I think they need that. And what it comes down to is that they don't need that at all. Maybe they need it later, maybe they don't need it now. But what I said in a list building challenge I was on, he said basically, build part of your list first, then ask them what they need, then create the product. And I was like, okay, in an ideal world, that is a good idea. But getting those first people on the list as well, that might not be your target market yet or whatever, but it's right. At some point when you have enough followers, ask them what they really need from you, and then you can create the product, adapt to that. It's a process. Sometimes you put out something and then you don't get much feedback, or maybe too little, but it's like Susanne said, ask them what is missing, what's the reason that you don't sign up for this, or what is the reason that you didn't engage with this one. Is there anything I can change? What can I do for you? When you approach it in that way, you don't feel like a salesy person. You feel more like, or they feel more like, okay, this person is really trying to figure out how to help me. Maybe she's not on the right track, but she's asking me help, and people are quite willing to help. Although it's a bit, of course, I see this as well, it's hard to get people to engage. That's simply try and fail.
And sorry.
Yes, Susanne?
When you ask for, I mean, my website has a few testimonials, but or my Facebook has quite a few testimonials. I have 5 points on Facebook, but the girls sometimes they don't feel like leaving a review. I need to talk to them, and they have no problem. They leave it in a minute, and they leave you the best one. Because I know the people I ask for, I know they're gonna leave one. They just don't do it because they're in the U.S. having a great year, and they're too busy with their lives and all that. But the minute I tell them, I get reviews in no time. So even for those things, you have to ask for them, because otherwise they might not write it down. And they're very important for me.
Yeah.
They are super
No,
important.
that's true. I mean, just talk to people. It's sometimes some of us have a bit of a barrier depending what kind of personality we have, but
Yeah.
it's very powerful. Ask people. It's like they say, if you don't ask, you don't get. And a lot of the things we do in business, like writing a blog, we keep it a bit secret in the beginning. It's no, you just like go out there and ask people, get the feedback, and be kind of brave enough to get some bad feedback. But I keep saying as well, with the whole advice giving, which is a really disturbing thing in the beginning, a lot of my clients as well, you get advice from everyone. And one thing I learned when I start up is like who to take advice from and who not, and have a look at the one giving the advice. Are they in a position really that they can give me advice? Do they know about my kind of business? Do they know what I'm doing really? Have they asked me things about my business before they start giving all this advice? Have they done this before? A lot of people who are still in a normal job will give you advice. But they still in a normal job, they kind of try to push you back to their comfort zone. That happens quite a lot. And I notice as well, men like to give advice, but they have a different approach to business than us. What is working for them is very uncomfortable for us because they take more risks. They go out there. They can jump into things without being prepared. And most women will like to be prepared. So sometimes I think, okay, I started to realize after a while that I can't listen to people's advice because I start to go in this direction, someone gave me advice, I start to go to another direction, and eventually I thought, okay, I will listen to people who have also sold their services online like I want to do, and they're successful. So if they have done and gone, it's like with Natalie, she has been going that kind of path that her clients will be going, so she can actually give the right advice to them or give them direction. And the same for us, find someone who is where you want to go, and then they ask them maybe even, can you give me some guidance? Can you help me what to do first and last, and what to focus on and what to not focus on, basically. So it's part of the process as well. I'll move on. Let's see if I even remember my own slides. I get very engaged in this conversation. Thank you for sharing your your input. Let's see here. Screen share. So am I sharing or no?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, my button was... Here we go. I'm back to sharing. So, market research. Okay, and the next one, well, I mentioned this already a bit. Really take note of the words they use. I recommend recording the interviews. It helped me a lot because afterwards I thought I would remember what they said, but of course I didn't. And also, when you listen to yourself and the way they talk afterwards, you can really pick up a lot of things that you might not have noticed during the conversation because there are distractions. And really almost make a list of the words they use when they describe the thing with their problem, what they feel about it, where they want to be, what they feel about it. And you will see when you talk to sufficient people that there will be words that everyone keeps repeating, and those are really your key words. So to give a specific example, when I did my first round of interviews, and that was more like building the website that I was talking about at that time, but everyone uses the word frustration. Everyone's frustrated because it's not so easy. And everyone's like, oh, I'm so frustrated, can't sleep at night, and all kind of other things. But it's kind of one of the key words that are okay. A bit overwhelmed about all the things they find, and everyone actually had the same problem, and a few keywords were all describing that. So lastly, of course, to get to the website itself, what we want to achieve when people come to our website is that they instantly feel that, okay, this is exactly my problem, or you feel that, okay, I come to the right place. This person is helping people like me with problems like mine. And to manage to get that emotional response, you have to have done this market research and figuring out what are their emotions around all these things that they struggle with. It's very powerful, and actually I had this I had this with you, Natalie, one day. You had helped me with a copy, and your words in my copy, and then you read it the day after and you said, oh, this section is really good, and that was your own section. So I was like, this is just proving it. When you read your own words, you feel connected. So I was like, okay, I really like it when the theory is kind of confirmed in practice. And you will see when you listen a lot to your clients, use the same words as them, and they will feel connected to you, and you start going towards those messages that you need to have on your website. So the website is also a thing that keeps changing. So when you start out, you don't have that much information, but the more and more information you get, keep tweaking the key messages. I changed my homepage, I'm sure, 5-6 times, because I keep thinking, okay, this also because, of course, my market is changing a bit, that people get more mature and have more things in business, but you keep doing tweaks, you keep learning things, and you keep changing your copy. And ideally as well, when they do get to the website, you want to guide them through the website. You want to tell them what to do next. You want to be very clear on especially your homepage, what you want to achieve on your homepage. There needs to be a call to action there. And usually I would say you would either want people to contact you or to leave their email address so that you can stay in touch until they're ready to contact you. And from there, even though people not necessarily sign up on your homepage, if you have a sign up button there, they will keep it in mind, because the next page, I keep saying, the go is to the about page, because before they make decisions, they want to know, okay, who is this person? Do I like her? And on the about page, you can keep selling yourself, not talking just about what you do, but talk about everything you can do for them because of the experience you have. So I always say the about page is not really about you. It's about how you can serve them. It's a place that they might even see before the homepage. Let's say you posted your blog and you posted the link on a group and people come to your blog. They like what they see and they think, okay, but I want to know more about this person. They come to your about page, and it's good to have there as well, like what you do and who do you do it for. So you have that instant connection. She works for people like me with my problems, and this is her story, and this is all the things that she has gone through in her life or education, depending on what you do, that will serve me, because eventually people only think about themselves. Not in a bad way, but that's, we always want to think like, okay, how can this person be good for me? They don't go in there and, oh, I'm going to work with this person because she seems nice and I want to give her my money. No, unfortunately. I mean, you go in there thinking, okay, how can this person make me move forward? So let's see. I'll see if I'm off track or not. I'm not quite on top of this screen sharing. I'm so sorry. Am I sharing or not? No.
No.
Not sharing. Okay. Let's see. Google Hangout. I love you, Abed. So let's see where I am. Well, it's not so bad. I like that we can see each other.
Yeah, it's quite good that way.
Yeah, it's good that way. For small groups, it's really good. So, well, basically, it's kind of the end of my presentation. A lot of this work is, it's much more work than people think to, first of all, understand how the online world works to attract clients. One part is the website. When people come to your website, how to prepare all this content to strategically move your visitors towards taking some kind of action. Because if they visit your website and there's no action, then you lose them. They might really love everything they read, but you would never know. And that's just too bad. Which is why people are talking about build your list, do what you can to have people leave their email address. And when you have their email address, you can stay in touch with your blog and with your, like with me, like this webinar. You can start to connect with people and tell people what you do and what you offer, and learn more about as well what they need so you can adapt your offer. So that's where it all starts, to use your website as a marketing tool. And what I started to do, because I talked to everyone about this, and I talk to new clients, I have always the same discussion and the conversation. So instead of doing all this one-to-one, I also created a program now so that people can do this together. So basically, we go through all the things we talk about today, and we start to work on the homepage, we start to work on the about page, on the blog, the work with me page, so that each page is optimized basically for making the person who visits click to see more information instead of leaving, and to take some kind of action that will make it possible for you to keep in touch with them, either for working with you right away, but since sometimes that's not the case, especially with people who do coaching and things that is a bit more like, okay, this step is out of my comfort zone, so I'll wait. You would like to be able to keep in touch with them and until they're ready, basically. So this is what I have in this program, and it opens today, the shopping cart. I will send a link later to everyone where you can see the details. But it's just to let you know that if anyone doesn't want to do all this on their own, and it's more work than what you think sometimes initially, then we can do it together. And this is the whole idea behind that I started. So from my side today, that's it. Let's see if I'm back. Yes, I'm back. No? Yes.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Don't worry. Hang on, I'll put her on mute. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so also I wanted to use this time today. If you have any questions, I want to talk about how to attract clients online, what you're struggling with. If there's anything I can help you with now, or you have any questions to the program, this is the opportunity basically to pick my brain and get some of my experience, all the things I learned this last few years, starting up a business and actually making it work and still growing bit by bit. But I see that my experience have helped a lot of female entrepreneurs specifically. So, which is, well, right now, if you have questions, let me know. And we can do that before we finish the call. Silence. Am I online?
I'm going to see you soon, so I might have a question on Friday.
You have a question on Friday. Okay. If you have a very important question, I'll share it in the blog.
I'm all good.
Yes, you're good. Okay.
Hi. Can I? Are you meeting on Friday somewhere?
No, Georgia is coming to Barcelona, so I will see her.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a meeting or something like that. Okay.
No, but I do have a meeting with my meetup. I can't remember the next date. I think it's in a couple of weeks. But I do sometimes meet regularly with a small group of female entrepreneurs, so I can write to you later and get connected, because you are here in Barcelona, right?
I'm in Barcelona, yeah.
So now we are some girls meeting every now and then, so we can take the opportunity there to connect face to face as well, which is always a great thing.
Okay, just one last question. Will you send the recording? Was this recorded or?
Yes, it's supposed to be recorded, so I will edit it tomorrow, see if I find time to send it out. Otherwise, I will send it out for sure on Friday, but ideally, the recording will come to you per email, and with some of the information as well that I talked about today.
Okay, and this program you're offering now, it's about making a homepage and the content, or?
Yes.
Well, because I missed the beginning. But,
no worries, I didn't talk so much about it. It's about making all the content for your website. So it's about preparing the kind of content on your homepage that creates this emotional response, really, that people come in and think, this is something I'm interested in. This is a person I want to work with. So we work on that part, the most important part. And then we work also on how to write the about page, because it's very much a sales page as well, since it's the second most visited page on a website always. And then we move on to well, we do that whole market research. You might have missed a bit in the beginning, but we do a lot of market research exercises. And from the results, try to find out what messages you can use, and also what kind of free gift you can give to people who come to your website so that they would like to leave their email address. So we work a lot of that the first weeks, basically learning about our target market and finding these words and sharing it in a group, because sitting, as I always say, sitting home alone and trying to figure it out, like, is this a good idea, is it a bad idea, what do people think, it's kind of difficult. So the idea is that in the program you can get towards finding out, okay, I think this is a good idea, share it with the others, share it with me, get feedback if this makes sense or not, because it's not so easy in the beginning, but if you see it from the outside, it's always easier. Even I have problems seeing my own business from the inside, and people say, like, why don't you spend more time on this and forget about that? And I'm like, thank you. This is why I like to connect people. So the program is all about having someone to do it with, to create a bit of a community and have people to ask, okay, look at my about page, what do you think? And it's better to ask and get the feedback in a small group, basically, where you know that everyone is on the same stage, so no one's going to judge you or think that, oh my god, in the beginning you might feel like, oh, people are going to think I'm unprofessional, I'm not good enough yet, I'm just playing business. It's a lot of attitudes like that sometimes when you start out. It's like, yeah. And in the group, it's about sharing in a safe place, basically, and we're all in the same place and help each other get the best content possible. Bye, Nat. I see you later. And we will go through, well, let's see here, because there's 7 weeks. I will send a link in the email as well, because there it's specified all the details, but basically we go through homepage, what you can offer as an opt-in, how to write the about page, how to write the work with me page, also a little bit about blogging, which Georgia will contribute a bit on that last week because she's good at writing, to give some input, and basically get everything ready so that when you're ready to build your website, or even if you have a website already and you need to update your content so that it's really engaging with your visitors and ideally make them want to contact you. Bye. See you later, Susanna. Thank you for joining. So this is it. I'll send a link with all the details, but thank you for asking. And yeah.
I'll be looking to reading your mail or seeing you all sometime next time.
Yes, thank you so much for joining, and sorry it was a bit complicated with the technical part one of these days. So, but it was really great to get to know you a little bit. Can I ask you, Adrienne, what do you do?
Oh, I'm complicated. I'm a translator, but I'm also a yoga teacher.
Okay.
And I want to start teaching business too. So, but I'm starting everything. So I'm completely new. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's great. Yoga is great. I do yoga. And yeah, I've been working with a few translators as well. So I know it can be a challenge. Okay, Georgia, I see you need to go. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you for your contributions. And see you on Friday.
Yeah, see you soon.
Yes, very well. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, Adrienne, thank you so much. I'll be in touch.
Bye.
And maybe we can meet face-to-face one day as well.
Hope so.
All right. Great. Bye-bye.